Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Friday night edition. Friday night edition of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the bearded villains worldwide brotherhood. It is Friday, January 17th, 2025, and you are here for episode 237. 237 episodes in. Hey, happy Friday night, everybody. It is a cold one out there. It's a cold one. If you're up in if you're in the Midwest or further parts north, definitely a cold night. So yeah, stay warm out there. I realized we were just about halfway through the countdown stuff there, that I didn't do the typical posting on Instagram, like with the link to the thing that says, hey, this is going to be starting at 7 p.m. So I do apologize if anybody's going to be coming in late or listening to it late. But hey, if you're just listening to a regular audio podcast platform, you don't care because you just clicked play and we're right there for you. So so anyway, let's see. What do we got on deck for tonight? This is another one of those, you know. All right, I'm switching over to a different mic for the time being, and we will fix what we will fix in just a second. I have an aerial mic that I have to go to. For some reason, my audio. Thank you, Mr. Rob Fetters, for telling me that the sound was going out on me, and I'm not sure why it switched over onto something else while I was doing this. So what I'm going to do is power that down, and I'm going to start recording this again, and I'm going to come over here and see what I can do. There we go. Now I'm going to flip this back over here, and hopefully this bad boy's recording again. So now we got me. All right. Hey, I don't know. Now we're back through the main system here. I have no idea why that did what it did, but hey, we're back. We're back. Shout out Perth, Western Australia. Hey, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Hey, since we're here and Rob is saving the day, hey, I'm just gonna bring in his comments here. We've got a bunch of people hanging out with us tonight, but very few in the comments section here. So Rob was telling me, hey, audio is cutting in and out. All right, Rob, appreciate that. And he says, I've got nothing. I love it. Thank you so much. Hopefully when you're hearing everything now, and it's caught itself back up. So he says, "Now I got you." And then Bearded Life 91 says, "Shout out from Perth, Western Australia. I dare say that you are not dealing with the cold temperatures and the snow that we are dealing with up here in the Midwest and northern Indiana. So enjoy your weather while you have it, right? Enjoy the fact that I don't know. Do you ever get any like cold? This is how ignorant I am about geography. I mean, knowing where you are, and I know that it's typically a very hot climate. Is there any part of the climate in Australia that like has elevation enough that where there's like any kind of cold? I'm curious. I'm curious. But this is the ignorant in me, the ignorant person in me that doesn't, that's not aware. Audio's back on, sounding amazingly professional. Hey, you know what? That's just the technical gear. That's the gear only. That is only the gear that makes it sound that way. It's not because of me, for sure. But hey, okay, so we're back. Let's see, where did my audio die off on me? So I was saying, I think before the thing died off, the audio cut over to a different mic and did some weird stuff on me. So this is, I think, the trend for the show here, at least initially in 2025, is going to be kind of a freelance. This show could be 25 minutes long, or this show could be 45 minutes to an hour long. We don't know. Episode to episode, it's going to change. It's going to vault. It's going to move all over the place, and it just depends on how interesting the conversation gets and how deep the conversations get on whatever the topic is of the day. And some days I just make the topic up as I go. Some days it's based off of some things that might be popping off in some chats. It might be something where there's an event that's coming on and I need to interview somebody about an event. It could be a variety of reasons. So as you know, the standard format has always been I like to interview people from the different shows or from the different chapters around the world when they're having something new coming up or something interesting coming on. And I'm going to continue to do that. But on days like today, where we're kind of stagnant right now and kind of waiting for things to happen, we do have some items that have just recently come up on for charity for sale for a few different items that are raising money for different things. So I'm gonna include those tonight. I'm also gonna go take a jump back for a second to last week's episode when we talked about the one word challenge, and I really wish that more of you would want to take part in this. This is not the this is not everybody doing a New Year's resolution, right? Or several New Year's. People don't hardly do one New Year's resolution. They like do several when they do them. And so my hope was that by doing this, when I started this thing 5 years ago, I like the idea of it just being one thing for 1 year, and it's one word. And that one word is the thing that drives you, motivates you, pushes you through to do whatever goals you want to succeed, whatever things you want to do in that given year. And it's been really fun for me, and I know for a bunch of other people, at least for the first part of the year while they still remember their word. But I'm here this year in 2025. I'm going to make sure that I remind people, and I'm going to be hitting them up periodically and saying, "Hey, how's that word?" And then they're going to go, "What was my word?" And then I'm going to have to remind them of their word, probably about 95% of the time. And I'm okay with that because I've got the list of who wanted to do that. Anyway, one of the individuals that wanted to send in a video last week but wasn't able to, but he did send me in his word. We're going to actually play his little video that he made for it, explaining why he chose what he chose. And these are the things that I love. Those videos that we had last week were really fun, and there were just a handful of them. I mean, literally, there were like four. The first time we did this, man, I had like 8 to 10. I think I had 8 to 10 people send me in a video. And then the second year, it really popped off, and I must have had, I want to say there were like 15 different videos that came in from people all around the world telling me what their one word was for that year. So I think maybe I just need to do a better job of reminding people and really staying on top of people and hounding them left and right, up and down, up and down. Give me your video. I want to see your one word challenge on tape so we can hold each other accountable. That's what it comes down to. I mean, yeah, I love the fact that people are giving it a little bit of time at least to come up with a word that might be interesting to them. But the video, man, the video is so much cooler because when you send in a video, it actually causes you to really actually not just think about a word and create a word and say this is going to be my word, but actually to break it down and to say to really dive deep into yourself and say, why exactly am I choosing this word? Because you have to explain it. You have to explain why you've chosen this word for this year and what it's going to do to drive you. You can't just pick a word and say that's my word, because then it never causes you to have to think about it. And that's why I love that's why I love the recordings and people send me in the videos of it, because it has those people for sure have thought about it, and it becomes a very intensely personal reason to do that word. That's what I love. So good old Dapper Dan he sent me in a video, and I'm gonna share that a little later here. But explaining the word now, the word he did choose, he told us about last week. He sent in his video, or I mean his word. But I actually questioned. I said, okay, because his word was excel, and I said, what's that word? Tell me. I mean, what's that mean? And he kind of jumped into the comment section here live and kind of gave a brief description. But now we have a video that we can hold him accountable to, like those of us else that put it on tape. So there's that. That's going to be coming up in just a little bit. But yeah, and I see Dapper just joined up. Hey, what's up, Dapper Dan? Good evening. I hope everybody's having a good Friday night. We've got a smallish crowd tonight, which is totally fine. It's totally understandable. I know people have different things going on in the world. We got a handful of guys out there that I know, regular listeners, that have come down with something in the last several days. This last week has been a struggle bus, big time, for people getting sick. It's always that way, I think, though, right after the holidays. And I don't know if I'm sure there's technically some correlation to the fact that people just spent like 2 weeks of holiday time gathering in bigger crowds and bigger crowds with people that they only see once or twice a year in some cases. And, then it seems like we always end up getting a little bit sick. Or, that first week coming back from school, I always dread that for my kids. I've always dreaded that. Anytime you've been away from school for a few weeks, and well, the kids have been home anyway, and the same thing at the beginning after the summer break, they come back to school and excuse me, lo and behold, within a week of coming back into school, coming back into classes, inevitably like 5 kids are sick from the class. I mean, how cool, how cruel of a thing is that? The kids come back after winter break, after a spring break, after a summer break, or whatever else it is, and then within a week, seems like almost inevitably one of the kids is sick, and that was always the case. I know with our first 3, and then now, lo and behold, my youngest came from school. She's doing great though. She just suddenly had a runny nose out of the blue. That just after a couple days of being back at school last week. So thankfully she's not. It's nothing going crazy on her. But yeah. So I know we've got some people. What do you call if you're in a business meeting, sick or in distress type of thing? Yeah. So T's and P's to all you people out there that are battling some sort of illness or sickness. I know I've got a couple bros in my chapter right now that are going through it. Some of them are like full on MASH units at their house with the family. Like everybody's laid up. So yeah, hope happy healing thoughts to everybody out there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I want to go ahead and share. There's 3 items that I found over the course of this past week that have just recently popped off. Some as recent as today, where they're raising money for a specific purpose or a specific charity or something like that. And as you know, we like to share that stuff here so that we can encourage our brothers to go out there and support other chapters to purchase their merch. So and help out with their charitable endeavors. So as I get ready to do that, I must say cheers to everybody else that's imbibing in a adult beverage this evening. As I take a sip. Thank you. Tonight's choice is the traditional standard, the Elijah Craig small batch. It's always a good classic, cheap, inexpensive pour. I didn't have to get too crazy with it tonight. All right, so let's get into some of our merch items that we've got going tonight for various charity purposes. The first one I have to share just because I have to give a shameless plug. I have to give a shameless plug to Northern Indiana, to my chapter. because I've not seen another chapter out with their patches yet for these. And I know that we've just recently had some people start sharing that they've started receiving our patches finally. So we do have this collaboration with the main Bearded Villains page, this collaboration for socks. It's the Global Homeless Outreach. And we've so far, it's been very successful for us. We've received a bunch of orders. There are only 100 available for each chapter that was doing this. So they are rather collectible if you're into collectible things that there's not going to be, there's a limited production run or that only limited chapters actually have access to. So that's kind of a cool feature if you're a patch collector. So grab 1, 2, or 10 of these if you want to. We still have some available. We did not sell out right away yet, but that's probably because we started selling them around Christmas time, and people already had lots of money spoken for. So now that your bank books are open and your money is a little bit freer after the holidays, get out there and get out there and grab some. These things, if you don't know already, this is a really cool project. VK sent out these patches. He donated these patches to our chapter for us to sell, and the purpose of which is that we are going to use the proceeds from the patches sale to donate socks to the needy and homeless communities within our area. So very, very cool to see that, and we're going to be able to do some really good stuff with that with those monies. So and it was at no cost to us to the chapter, thanks to VK. So appreciate you. It's gonna be a really cool outreach, and I'd love to see. I can't wait to see if there's others out there. I don't even know what other chapters might have been involved in this. So, but anyway, if you want to hit us up, bvnorthernindiana.org, and get your patch. Get your patch. And I see Dapper Dan just said he got his socks in yesterday. All right. Hopefully it met your standards. Hopefully it met up with your standards. All right, next up, I've got the Smoky Mountain Villains, the Isaiah 117 7th anniversary patch. And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be because the catalog of patches in my head is vast but also forgotten. Um, this may be the first this might be the first Smoky Mountain patch that's like all red and black. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. It's the only one I remember that's all red and black. But anyway, any event, it's got their bear on it. It's got the Isaiah 117 logo on it as well. It says Smoky Mountain Villains established 2018. This patch is available for now for $12, and the proceeds, I believe, go to Isaiah 117, which is one of their charitable endeavors that they've worked with for many years. So if you like to support your brothers out there and the chapters and the charities that they do, hit up Smoky Mountain and see if you can grab one of these patches for just only $12. $12. And next up, we have Bearded Villains Severed Sirs, North Carolina. This is their first ever. See, if you like the limited things, if you like the first evers types of things, get out there and grab one of these. This is a relatively new chapter within BV, remember, in North Carolina. The Bearded Villains Severed Sirs, North Carolina. This is their first chapter patch release. So exciting times, I know, for them and for anybody else that gets out there and collects things. They are a growing chapter. I know that they're really anxious and excited to be able to do some good in their community. They've already started, I think. So reach out on Instagram to Bearded Villains Severed Sirs, North Carolina. And while you're there, if you're curious about the name, there's an interesting story about how they came up with their chapter name. So reach out to those boys and find out. Hey, just out of curiosity, hear the story. But reach out to them. I think that if I'm not mistaken, the place where you can buy those patches is actually at carolinavillains.org. It's a collective that they have there for purchasing patches and whatnot. But carolinavillains.org is where you can get the Bearded Villains Severed Sirs, North Carolina original first ever chapter patch for $12. And finally, the last thing up. I just saw this today for the first time, and I'm glad I did. As you know, there have been some tragic, absolutely horrendous wildfires going on over in California. And to top it off, there's all sorts of reports that other people are actually setting additional fires. Absolutely horrific that could even, I mean, that people could even think about doing that kind of thing. So what they've done is the LA chapter, our Bearded Villains brothers in LA, have decided to create a shirt. This is on a pre-order, I believe. This is an LA Fire Support T-shirt. It is black and white. It has Bearded Villains LA on the front of it, the Bearded Villains LA logo, Los Angeles. On the front chest and on the back, it says Bearded Villains LA with the Los Angeles. And then it has the symbols or the logos for the fire department, the police department, and the EMS. And it says, thanks, our first responders. So, yeah, great shirt, great cause. This shirt's only $30, and the money's going to go to help out in the areas where they are most needed, where the wildfires were happening. So, excuse me. Reach out to the LA bros over there and see what you can do to help out. Grab one of those shirts. I did look, and they go up to 4X. The shirts go up to 4X on the site. I don't know if they have the option to get bigger shirts if you're a bigger boy, but maybe they do. I don't know if you're a bigger bro. But hit them up. Hit up the LA boys and see what you can do. See what they can do to help you out and what you can do to help them out and help out everybody else in California. And that is the merch that I have for tonight. So if you have some merch that I didn't know about and I couldn't share it because I didn't know about it, then oops, sorry, I wish I could have, and I apologize in advance for the, or well, I don't apologize in advance because I just missed it, but you know what I'm saying. I apologize after the fact. Yes. So, but I want to be able to share this stuff. So let me know when you got stuff going on. Don't hide it. Don't make me search it. Don't make me look for it and find it because I may just miss it. And that. So, all right. Well, as I said, we already did the one word challenge. We launched that last week. And one of the ones that we did last week was Dapper Dan came through with the word excel. But I wanted to play. He is, you know what? I put out a call last week. I said, hey, you have a week. If you wanted to participate in this or you forgot or whatever else, get them in. You have a week. A week came by and I didn't get any, which, okay, I get it. Hey, whatever it is. But then I sent out a call again this afternoon. Hey, last chance. And guess how many I got? Guess how many I got? One. One from Dapper. One from Dan. That's it. And it's the one that we already knew about, but we wanted an explanation for. So I'm going to give him credit for that because I really appreciate him coming through for that. So let's play real quick. This is only about a minute long or so, but I want to play the video that he sent in explaining why he chose this. And I love this explanation. This is a really cool explanation of why he's chosen the word excel for this year for 2025.
Hey BP, Heart of a Villain. Dapper Dan here, and my word last week was excel. I figured I needed a little bit more than a cookie cutter explanation for that. And basically, in a nutshell, it's to move forward, to go faster, to accomplish more, to really see what I can do with our new chapter, Lakeland Bearded Villains, with the guys that helped me create it, in the communities that they belong to. I've been chapterless for 2 years, and I can only do so much as a chapterless villain. So basically, I've just been sitting still. I've been doing things that benefit me, going to meets to meet up with guys and, you know, helping out with charities, but it's always been someone else's. So now is our time. I think 2025 is going to be a great year. We have a lot of big plans coming up, and that's why I chose the word excel, so I can move forward at an accelerated rate through accomplishment, through charity, through community outreach. I just don't want to stand still anymore.
All right. I appreciate that, man. That's a great explanation, Dan. You know, I just don't want to stand still anymore. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to, right? That's what it comes down to is we're always looking for ways to give back. We're always looking for ways to do better in our community and do better and do right by our brothers. And that's, you know, when push comes to shove, there's that, you know, we can always find ways to do things, but there's a certain connection. There's a certain thing. I mean, you can always go out and do an individual thing, right? And you can always go out as an individual and go assist other chapters and attend their things. But um, when you can do it as a group locally in your community, representing your communities. I don't know that there's a whole lot better than that. And I'm gonna get into my topic for tonight, as we say. Kind of dives into that a little bit as far as local stuff. But yeah, I noticed that we've had a few other people jumping into the chat here. One of them I have got to give a big congratulations to is Mars. Mars, congrats on the Beard of Mayhem. Very, very cool, buddy. Bad man he is. Congrats to you, buddy. And congrats to Ed, my co-cap as well, for getting that, although he's not here right now, so we can just say screw him. He's not joining us live. Uh, and he would love that too. Be more Ed, whatever, buddy. Yeah. We need more Ed right there. Being more Ed does help as well. Yeah, as Mars says. Oh, I guess being more Ed does help as well. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh all right. So here's the thing. Um here's kind of what I wanted to just mention tonight. And part of it comes from some comments that have been racking around in my brain that I've seen in some old chats as of recent days, recent months, recent weeks. And I've heard some people that have been around in the initial parts of BV, like have been around they started out in BV in the first couple of years, and I've heard the comments over the last several months to years talking about this OG thing, and we've talked about that till we're blue in the face. And I don't really want to mention that specifically, but hang on just a minute. Cheers. But what I do want to mention is I I take I'm trying to figure out how to exactly say this. Um, I I find it a little bit uh, frustrating, maybe frustrating to hear some of those guys talk about the newer people that have come in the last few years, um, talking about how it was better way back, better for when things were way back when they first started, and that there's little respect for the paths that were generated, and these guys, it was better when these guys were still doing the thing, and all this other stuff. And we've talked a little bit about this in the past, that we have to be open to change. We have to be open to the fact that some of those people that were around in 10 years ago when it first started up, um, didn't really do a whole lot. They were there initially, and yeah, they helped start some chapters. But once they got chapters started, I mean, I'm not taking it away from everybody for sure, but there were some guys out there that did a lot of solid work. They did some amazing things, not only within BV but in their communities. They did some great things, and there were some others that were just kind of there. They were witnesses to the process. They were witnesses to the history of BV, and now they're there as what? Just criticizing those that are still there. They're criticizing those that are trying to make a difference in a different way. It may not be the way that it was 10 years ago. It may be different, but we have to adapt. We have to adapt as time goes on. Things aren't always going to be the way that they were 10 years ago, right? The people aren't going to be the same as they were 10 years ago. Anytime you have growth, anytime a club grows, you're going to have changes. Bylaws are going to change. The very nature of the club, the drive, the mission statement in some cases, it adapts over time. And so for us to just remain stagnant and talk about the good old days that were only 10 years ago, by the way, um, I think that's a disservice not only to those that started things out, but to those that have continued what's gone on in the future, what's gone on in the last few years. It had to start somewhere, so it started somewhere. And the guys that started things out and created the chapters and did all that work, you have to give them credit for that, and I do. But when other chapters want to come up and when other chapters want to start up, to not give them that same credit, that same service, and that you're doing the entire club a disservice. And so tonight I'm talking about changes. Tonight I'm talking about saying changes, they're gonna come. They're gonna happen, right? In the grand scheme of things, BV is 10 years old. We are in our absolute infancy. And it's weird to say that because for some of us, it has been a huge part of the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years of our lives, which to us is a quarter of our life for some of us. If you're in your 20s, it could be literally a quarter of your life that you've been a part of BV. If you're in your 30s, it could be almost half your life, depending on when you found it. If you're in your 40s or 50s and you've been here for 8 years, it's over. It could, I mean, depending on when you came in and the age that you are, BV could be a third to a quarter to even half of your life already. But yet we are still, as a club, in our infancy. And changes are gonna come. Changes need to come. We need to adapt. It needs to be fluid. Anytime you start out something, you can't stay as you were if you're going to grow. And the thing with BV is you're not just growing in numbers. You're growing with the individuals that are in the club. You're not just creating numbers, right? These are living, breathing men with ideas, with goals, with dreams, with wants and needs, not only in their personal life, but in the lives that they want to live and that they want to live through BV. And so when things aren't happening, when it's not working for them, they have two choices to make. They either determine that this time of my life has changed and I'm ready to be done with it and I'm going to move on. And we've had many brothers do that. In the last handful of years, we've had a lot of brothers, I would say. A lot that, I mean, I can think of at least 20 or 30 that I knew well that have decided that it's time to move on. This Bearded Villains was a chapter of their life, and they're okay with moving on. It doesn't need to be their entire life, and they're okay to move on. For others, it's a huge part of their life, a part of their life that they don't want to see gone. It's a part of their life that they live for, and it becomes so important to them that it's not their whole life, but it's that part of their life where they can give back. And maybe that's the only thing that they have where they can offer that. I'm not going to criticize somebody for that. And just because it doesn't fit your belief, your criteria of what that should be, who are you to come down on another brother for how they want to live this journey? Every single one of us, right? Between 4,000 and 5,000 worldwide, between 4,000 and 5,000 Bearded Villains worldwide, every single one of us has our own journey that we're going through within BV. Some are heavily indebted to BV, and it's a big part of their life. Others, it's just a little bit of their life. And that's okay. I don't have to have the same journey that you do. I don't have to live this walk of BV the same way you do. But at that same breath, you have to be able to acknowledge the fact that that's the case and not come down on me and slam on me for my journey not being the same as yours. It makes no sense. I don't care if you're still an official BV chapter or not. At one time, you held the same beliefs that all the brothers that are still part of BV still hold. And it makes no sense at all. I don't understand why there's so much hatred by some of these brothers that are out there, critical and criticizing guys that are still a part of things, that want to be a part of things, that want to do better or do differently than you. Changes are gonna come. Changes for you, changes for me, changes for every single one of the 4,000 to 5,000 of us worldwide. We don't have to have the same story written. But what we should at least have is the respect for each other, that we can acknowledge that and not criticize somebody else for their path or their journey. I don't understand that. I don't understand how that makes you feel good. We are only 10 years old. Think about that, and think about that in the aspect of your child. If you have kids, or if you can remember back to being 10 years old, most of us can fit one of those two criteria, right? How much does a 10-year-old know about the world? Right? We are 10 years old as a club. We are still working it out. We are still figuring it out as a club. We've taken our P's and Q's from other organizations. We've seen how other organizations, other fraternal organizations, or whatever else it is, we've seen how they structure themselves. And we've taken a little bit here, a little bit there. We've done a little bit of changes here. And we've tried to determine what works best for us. And it's going to be a fluid thing. And it should be a fluid thing from now moving forward. But we have to have the respect for each other to recognize that that's the case. We are 10 years old. We are so young as an organization, as a brotherhood. Let me just spit some numbers out to you, because I wanted to talk about this for a second, briefly. If you think about it, think about other organizations that are out there. Think about other fraternal organizations that are out there. Fraternal Order of Eagles. And this, I don't know if these are worldwide or just stateside. I know some of these are worldwide. But I just wanted to talk about some of the most popular ones, at least that I'm aware of stateside. All right. Fraternal Order of Eagles is a very big, very well-known fraternal organization. But it's 125 years old. Founded in 1898, it has 1 million members. 1 million members. And they're still figuring things out from time to time. The VFW, 125 years old, started in 1899. The Elks Lodge, the Elks, another popular club, 157 years old, started in 1868. 1868 has 1.3 million members. The American Legion started in 1919. It's 106 years old and has 2.3 million members. Knights of Columbus started in 1882 with 142 years old. 142 years old. 2.1 million members. And finally, the Rotary Club. Rotary Club International. 1905, 119 years old, and has 1.2 million members. Guys, we are 10 years old, and we are still figuring it out. We're never going to be as big as those clubs, and I know that. So it's not really a true comparison, and I understand that. But the simple fact is, every single one of those organizations had to go through it. Every single one of those organizations spent the first half of their existence figuring it out. And from time to time, they're still making changes. And in each one of those organizations, there have been people that have joined up and decided it was for them or it wasn't for them. And there were varying levels of people being interested in it and being, affiliated with it and being active, and others that just weren't. They were just there as a member, paying a due. But we are so young. And when I think about that, and then I see the arguing and I see the bickering about different things, the little petty stuff, it just drives me crazy. It just drives me crazy. And that we recently had an award that was given out, and people can't be excited for the guys that won that award. People have to be critical about it, about why those people, and I get that. That's a human nature thing. We can go into that another day or not at all. But we need to be supportive of each other. We need to be supportive of each other and the desires and the hopes and the ways that our brothers want to do their thing. You may not like the way one chapter is run. You may not like the way that this other chapter was created, but they're here. You may not like the way that another chapter does their charity thing. Okay, so don't help. Don't participate with them. But I don't understand the hatred. I don't understand where that comes from. At one time, all of us shared that same common goal, that same belief in what it is that it was to be a bearded villain. And my hope is that we can one day get back to that. And if the people that don't want to be a part of that don't want that, then that's okay. Your journey can be done. That chapter of your life can be done. No harm, no foul. I used to be really worried about that. I used to be really worried about a handful of brothers that I knew really well that had been around for a while, and I was worried about, what if they leave and what's going to happen, and we're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. The thing moves on. If half of us dropped off the face of the earth today in that Thanos, flip, click, whatever it is, okay, it's going to move on. It'll find its path. It'll find a way. We are just so young. And so when I say that, what I want to encourage everyone that's listening to share your voice. To share your voice. We've got newer chapters that have come up recently in the last few months. Share your voice. Share your chapter's voice. If you have something that's near and dear to your heart that you want to do, go for it. Do that thing. If something's not working, if you think that there's a better way to do something and you think that the club could benefit from it, go for it. Reach out to one of your board members and see if it's something that's ever been discussed. Maybe you're thinking up something that's not been thought of in the way that you're thinking of it. And maybe through a process of coming together with like-minded people, maybe something can change. Maybe your idea could benefit the club if you just have a voice to speak up. I just want to encourage everyone to stay positive. I want to encourage everybody that as we move forward beyond the 10 or beyond the 4 or 5 or however long you've been a part of it, however old your chapter is, continue to have a voice within your chapter, continue to have a voice within this club because you have a voice. And try not to listen to all of the crap that's in the background. Try not to listen to all the crap. Because it's always going to be there. I wish it weren't, but it's always going to be there. But I want us to focus on the good stuff, right? I want us to focus on the good stuff. I want us to focus on being positive. And with that, I have to share this message. Whether you're navigating the rugged terrain of the great outdoors or conquering the concrete jungle of the urban landscape, Bigfoot Beard Company has you covered. Bigfoot products are made with natural ingredients designed to help maintain a healthy, rich beard without leaving it feeling greasy and heavy. From classic cologne-inspired fragrances to fruity notes and earthy tones, there's sure to be a scent for every occasion. With worldwide shipping available, why not take an opportunity to walk on the wild side? Head over to Bigfoot Beard Company today. That's www.bigfootbeardco.com. Again, that's www.bigfootbeardco.com. All right. Special message from Bigfoot. Thank you, Bigfoot, for being a part of this show. Guys, just be positive. Be positive. Remember that we are young, and remember that you have a voice. Remember that you have a voice to help make differences and changes. Don't forget your voice. Don't forget your voice. Guys, hey, that's going to do it. I just want to wrap that up. It's a nice little bow. Wrap that up tonight. I want to challenge you. You know what that means, guys? This music. I want to challenge you all to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. The most important words I say every week, guys, remember them well. It's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Until next time, guys, till next week, back for 238. We'll see you then. Until then, take care, stay safe.
Always inspired, chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, this BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do